Hi, good afternoon, Bridge. It's a great pleasure to have you here. What I want to know is you've been involved with the valve technology right from its inception, and you've seen it grow over the years. So, a meeting like Sentient, which is basically a first time valvular therapeutics group of surgeons and cardiologists and intensivists coming together, what do you think it does to the whole technology and how we propagate it in this country?
Well, first of all, Ajit, thank you for having me here. It's certainly delightful to be here in Chennai, and certainly something important for me to come back home, if you will. Having said that, yes, I have been part of the TAVR family of trials right from the beginning, and even before that, I did a lot of benchtop testing in the early 2000s, and so the entire process has been very enlightening, very educational as to how we've been able to achieve this. There's lots of questions still left behind, but the rate at which we've achieved it is phenomenal at this point.
So, when we thought about this meeting, we were very clear that we wanted an inclusive approach.
Right.
When I mean inclusive, that we have a true heart team approach.
Right.
Like it's not on paper. You get the surgeons in, you get the cardiologists in, you get the intensivists and the anesthesists in.
Yes.
And they look at all the problems together.
Yes.
And we have this, not only divots, but we also have this heart team live,
Right.
so that we discuss each patient separately and decide how we pick these patients up. So was this sort of an idea also happening in the US during meetings, or is it something different?
Yes, it did. And I think this is extremely important. First of all, this is the right way of doing it. Before I transgress back historically and saying, obviously the Europeans did it first.
Yeah.
Right. And if you were to ask me, they did not do it right. Because if you go to Germany today, if I'm a surgeon, I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to do it by myself. If I'm an interventionalist, I'm not going to use my surgeon. I'm going to do my TAVR myself. Because you potentially could. Yeah. Right? How many times do you have groin complications? Never say never, but the incidence is less. There's multiple ways of taking care of it. Yeah. And rarely, if you have to call a surgeon, that's okay, but the incidence is very low. But what that leads to is that patients do not get the appropriate treatment. What we got from Europe is that it was a divergent culture, a non-inclusive culture. So I think, and I got to give industry the credit for it and the FDA the credit for it, because they were absolutely mandating it that you shall not do this, period. So in the US, the way it works is if I do not have a surgeon scrubbed in with me as an interventionalist, it's malpractice, it's illegal. Whether they do anything or not, it's a different story. But that doesn't happen. I'm just saying, if the guy is not interested, fine. Just scrub in, do whatever you want, let the interventionist do it. It doesn't happen, but they have absolutely mandated it. What also happened was with the pivotal trials going on with both the partners and the CoreValve family of trials is now for the first time, what I have realized in my own clinical practice is that when we used to send patients to the OR and say, okay, I'm off the hook, unprotected or whatever, tight left main or what have you, dying, cardiogenic shock, we would never pay attention to the rigors that surgeons had in the operating room. For the first time, for the last few many years, we are now realizing that they're not God, number one, right? And they have many rigors that we can fix with them, which they never had access to. So it's actually a two-way street. So people talk about, well, you can have a vascular surgeon come in and do a cut down on a bad groin. Well, you have to be in a bad groin for a surgeon to be opening that groin and realizing when that groin blows up surgically, you have a dead patient on the table. There's no way of fixing it. Sometimes percutaneous is better, and vice versa. It depends. So if you have the best minds sitting together, you can decide this is the best option for the patient. I can do a better job versus I cannot do a good job. Your technology is going to be a better option for the patient. Right. And those things can change on the fly. You're standing right next to each other. You saw the patient together. The way my practice is, I actually practice with cardiothoracic surgery. Yeah. So I don't have other cardiologists in my office. It's me and my cardiothoracic surgeon. And we see patients together. So we have a TAVR patient, a mitral valve patient. Either I see the patient first or he sees the patient first. It does not matter. But the appointment is with both. Yeah. everybody sees the patient separately, so we're not kind of encroaching on each other's individuality, if you will. But once we've seen the patient, then a lot of times we go back in together if it's a difficult patient and say, hey, we both are saying the same thing. You can't pin us apart and say, you said so and you said so, right? And in easy cases, we don't have to do it, right? But that is what really led us to do well. And you'll be amazed the number of times we did absolutely differently from what we would have initially thought would have been the best option for the patient.
I think this is pretty clear that I think the patient should be the focus.
Yes.
And so, Brij, it was fabulous to speak to you. Thank you very much. And you have a
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.